Hello and welcome to NewsClick. Price rise, an issue which has toppled governments, including in the Union Territory of Delhi in the near past, if anyone remembers, is a major issue that's raging in the country today. According to latest figures, the inflation rate in the country is hovering around 8.5%, and food inflation in particular is very high at 17%. It's been high for a long time. To discuss this issue and as to how the government has tackled the issue or the inadequacy of its response, we have with us Dr. Prasenjit Bose, convener of the research cell of the Communist Party of India Marxist. Dr. Bose, food inflation in particular has been high for quite some time now, and the general refrain we hear from the official circles in the government is that this is actually a reflection of increasing demand for a diversified set of food products beyond cereals, and in one sense a reflection of increasing prosperity. What would be your take on this argument from the...
You see, in countries across the world, whenever income levels have risen, the demand for cereals have never gone down, because even if the direct demand for cereals go down, but cereal demand overall increases because of feed grains for livestock, which gets reflected in increased demand for animal protein in the form of meat, eggs, milk, etc. So if you just compare India's per capita cereal availability in 2008-9, for instance, about 160-65 kg per head, to say China, which is 290 kg, to United States, which is about 1000 kg, the contrast becomes clear. And in fact, the time when India's GDP has actually shown rapid growth, per capita food grains availability has actually come down. And I think that the basic fallacy, the false presumption underlying the government's claim is that the high GDP growth is leading to rising income levels across all classes of society. That is clearly not the case. It is highly concentrated in the top 10 to 15% of the population. For the rest, real earnings our consumption has not really experienced any real rise. So where would the increased demand really
That is reflected in the Arjun Sen Gupta...
Precisely, if 77% population is living on less than 20 rupees per day, you can imagine what increase in consumption levels they would represent. And in fact, it is this section which is really facing and bearing the brunt of this food price inflation. And the United Nations and even our own family health survey, the government's own family health survey has shown how the Indian landscape is replete with hunger, acute hunger and malnutrition. So the government's claim really does not have any basis.
So what do you therefore think are the basic factors that are driving these high rates of food inflation for quite some time now?
Well, you see, if you look at the immediate things like the onion, the recent spurt in the onion prices, or earlier sometimes it was with sugar, earlier it was with pulses, with edible oils. These rapid price increases in a very short period of time is obviously caused by hoarding. You have these trader cartels today which have come up, and thanks to a government, the inaction of the government which encourages such unscrupulous activities, the consumers get fleeced, and you have such spurts of such bouts of very rapid inflation in specific commodities. But overall, what I think is that the gradual penetration of big corporate players in our food economy, the way commodity futures trading has been going on, the fact that distribution increasingly, the government's role in distribution has been weakened over time, to the weakening of the public distribution system, which has got significantly weakened consequent to targeting, the introduction of targeting. The fact that the role of organizations like NAFED has been scaled down, they are not proactive in the market anymore. So these are the withdrawal of the state from food distribution and the entry of private players, the increasing role of private players in the food economy is a major reason in my view. But there are more longer term or more medium term issues that are involved. Our agriculture is in a mess, and we are simply not producing enough to meet the needs of a growing population. And if you look at productivity and the state intervention towards productivity growth, increasingly we find that the government is ceding that role to big multinational corporations like the Monsanto. They want to bring the Walmart in, but the state investment in agriculture, state extension services and all other state support that is required to increase productivity of agriculture has not been there, and the peasantry is under acute distress. And finally, I think that apart from the agrarian distress that we have been seeing over many years now, the fact that subsidy cuts have been taking place, which leading to increase in the prices of fuel, fertilizer, which are crucial agricultural inputs, they are also contributing. So a whole gamut of factors are operating behind the food price inflation.
But in the immediate, the firefighting exercises that the government has indulged itself now limit itself to banning exports of say onions, for example, or even changing the way it has levied taxes on octroi or local traders, for example. Do you think these measures are adequate enough to handle the situation for now, immediately?
Well, they have come too late. They may have some impact in the in the medium term. The problem is that the basic attitudinal problem with the government is that it is rather blaming, trying to pass on the buck onto the state governments rather than taking the state governments on board and coordinating the anti-inflationary measures along with the state governments. For instance, the PDS is a major factor. If you want to stabilize prices, you have to, it is universally recognized, you have to strengthen the PDS, and the state governments have to be taken on board. But I don't see any movement in that direction. And if you look at what they are doing vis-a-vis the food security legislation, I think that they are just trying to further dilute its provisions from what they had promised earlier. And this is not the direction in which, without strengthening the public distribution system, without making it universal, you cannot really combat inflation. So the government is really missing the point, I think.
Earlier, you just mentioned passingly to the factor of futures trading in commodities. Now, beyond the left parties, we don't see many sections talking about this point. Why do you think that continuation of futures trading in essential commodities is leading to inflation?
Well, you see, primarily futures trading is linked to the inflationary expectations in the economy. Now, what does future trading essentially does? It does two things. Number one is it links the domestic food prices to the very volatile international market of food commodities. Second, what it does, it allows speculators, pure speculators who have got nothing to do with either production of food or trade in food, to enter as big players in the futures market and reap enormous profits by making capital gains and by taking speculative positions. Now, in the Indian context, India is essentially a food deficient economy, and in such a context of shortages, if you actually have futures trading, now who invests? Just look at the enormous amount of money which has poured into the futures market over the past 4 or 5 years. Now, who are these investors? Definitely the farmers are not investing in the futures market, they are big players. And in the context of shortages, what this kind of speculative activity does is to aggravate the inflationary situation. And because like all financial markets across the world, liberalized financial markets, the commodity futures markets are also characterized by the display properties of destabilizing behavior, like hard behavior, for instance. And such speculative activity in a situation of shortage will tend to aggravate the price rise and the food inflation. That is why from the left we have been consistently demanding that on food commodities futures trading should not be allowed.
Another issue that you have been focusing on primarily is the deregulation of fuel prices, which the government has indulged in. Unfortunately, even despite high rates of inflation, the government is not talking about at least rethinking its policy.
Well, it is in keeping with the overall perspective of the government. The more the government cedes its space to the market, to the big private players, deregulation of petroleum prices is yet another instance where it is allowing the market forces to dominate, and the prices are only moving northward. So it is definitely just adding to the inflationary pressures in the economy, and we think it was extremely poor judgment on the part of the government at a time when the international fuel prices once again are showing a very steep climb, to have deregulated, because it has definitely contributed to domestic inflation as well.
The Congress General Secretary Rahul Gandhi in a recent statement somewhere mentioned that the reason why the government is not able to control inflation is linked to coalitional pressures. What would be your take to such an argument from the...
Well, you see, if they are trying to pass the buck onto the agriculture minister, the agriculture minister, what can one say? I mean, he has been spending more time on cricket than on agriculture. But on the other hand, I think that Mr. Gandhi's statement is banal, because it's not about one ministry. I mean, that minister may be culpable of facilitating a situation where hoarding is taking place, and big traders are sort of fleecing the people. But on the other hand, the way food inflation has been increasing continuously over the past 3 years point towards structural factors. It's not about one ministry alone. And I think that it is basically the overall neoliberal policy framework of the Congress-led UPA which is primarily to blame. We are paying the price for withdrawing the state from the crucial sphere of food and ceding more and more space to big private corporates, to private interests, to the market. And this sector on which the majority people are dependent, there, when this is happening, it is definitely having an extremely negative impact on the living standards and on the earning levels of the poor people of our country. And I think on this basic issue, be it Mr. Gandhi, be it anybody else in the government or the Congress party, they still live in a denial.
Thank you, Dr. Bose. Thank you so much for joining us in this discussion. We hope to have you again because inflation is a raging issue, and we would like to discuss this issue again sometime later. Thank you so much.